just the games and scores. Hello guys, what's up? We decided to jump on here and do another episode of the GD1A Sports Podcast because we didn't get to cover Saturday's games at the state tournament.
And man, what a fun day, night. I mean,
the whole tournament was. I knew it would be that way. I knew it'd be good. But yeah, Saturday was a good day if you're a Tabiona Tiger fan, which we'll get into later. But
yeah. Before we get started, just want to read off these sponsors, like I said, that's helped us get the studio built. We can't wait to get into it, but I'll read them off real quick. Grant Heating and Cooling out of Duchesne, Utah. That's Kyle Grant. Want to thank him. He, like I said, he was kind of the first one that stepped in and said, help you any way you want. But yeah, if you have anything as far as your AC or your furnace, give him a call at 435-823-1710. I want to thank DeFay Logging. That's me and my dad, Luke DeFay. You need any firewood, logs, lumber, give us a call at 435-724-1758. We want to thank HG Outdoor Custom Steel Buildings and Pipe Fence out of Tabiona. That's Hayes Giles. Anything involving a fence or a barn, give him a call. He does a great job. His number is 435-823-2226. We want to thank Giles Glass out of Tabiona as well. Like I said, anything from house windows to commercial. I mean, he does about everything when it comes to glass.
Heavy equipment.
Yeah, and his number is 435-722-7188. And we want to thank DH Pipe and Cells. That's Dylan Hoffman. If you need any pipe, sucker rod, material to get going, his number is 435-828-1802. And then,
we better mention he's based out of Neola.
Yeah, he is. And then we want to thank, our cousins, Riley Hoffman. He come down, wired the, all of the studio in for us. And, even though he is family, he took time out of his way to come and help us do that. So we want to thank you, Riley. And he's just one of the best cousins out there.
Yeah.
And then we want to thank Wasey's brother and my cousin Slim Giles. Anytime it seemed like we called him, he ran over and helped us, stand the walls and put the roof on. I mean, he helped us honestly about as much as me and you did.
Yeah, pretty much the whole thing.
So we just want to thank all, the sponsors and thank Riley and Slim for, taking the time to help us. And with that, we'll jump into our episode here. But yeah, the state tournament, just honestly one of the best ones. Definitely going to remember it probably the rest of our lives because, the first year we started up the podcast and it, the Tabiona Tigers on the girls' end brings home a state championship. Yep. And, so, a really big core memory for us.
Well, it'll be easy to remember years down the road when we started this if we ever forget.
Yes, it will. I wanted to start by just saying every team there just looked awesome.
They did.
And on the boys' end, the Rich Rebels, just played unreal all season. Ended up going out the way, they should have went, and that was getting that state title. After watching Ridge Lundgren all tournament, my goodness, he was just amazing to watch.
Well, he come out the first day there and dropped 35.
Yeah.
And 6 threes. And
he's a player that I know is going to go somewhere, and it's going to be awesome to see what he does in the future. But yeah, state champions on the boys' end, the Rich Rebels, and Bryce Valley came in, short in that state championship game, but they was a team, like I said, played just so hard at the first of the season. Kind of had that slump in the middle of the season, but man, when you want to play at your best, they did. And that was at the tournament.
And I'll be honest, I don't mean this in a bad way at all, but it surprised me that they, made it to the championship game. I knew they was a good team. We've been saying it all year, even when they were going through that slump. We're like, well, they've been playing good. We know what they can do, and they come out and showed, if there was any doubters that they could get there. They just, like you said, fell a little bit short, but they fell short to what I think was probably the best team in the boys 1A all year. So it's hard to take a second place. Trust me, I know. I've been there. It's very hard. But at the same time, it's nothing to hang your head down on.
No.
That's second place. To be honest with you, the new format they've got now, to make it to Salt Lake is a pretty good accomplishment.
When we was talking with some other coaches, there's some programs that, might not make it to the tournament unless they really get maybe some junior high programs going and stuff. And I know, talking to people at the state tournament, there's a lot of people wanting that the other format back just for that reason, because there's a lot of the coaches are concerned that players might want to go wrestle, or they might want to go into another sport where they think they actually can, achieve and accomplish a huge goal. So we'll see what the future brings.
And the same thing, I heard mixed emotions from different people. Some people like the new format. I think most people were okay with it, but like you said, some do hope it goes back to the other format. And I also was talking to someone down there, and we got talking about the region, the southern region.
Region 20.
20.
Yeah.
That they're in a decision-making time right now to decide what to do with their region tournament.
Right.
So we could see next year their region tournament gone as well. There's no decision made yet, but that's something they're discussing down there too. So maybe a change on that format for those guys as well as the state tournament. But all in all, I feel like the tournament was really good. The facility was good. It was better than I expected.
Yes.
I had never been there, but I had heard, it's not very big, and it's not near as big as Sevier Valley Center.
Oh no, absolutely.
But it had plenty of space.
Yeah.
The floor was nice. I heard several players say that they really enjoyed playing on that floor. The officiating, I feel like, was the best officiating I've seen at a state tournament in probably 20 years.
Right.
I saw 2 familiar faces. All the other refs, I'd never seen them before. And one thing that I really liked about it is they let the kids play.
Yeah, that was kind of the biggest thing too. Is I watched the 2A one, and I thought that the fouls kind of got out of hand a little bit. But then I went to the 1A one, and they let them play. Obviously, you're never gonna get a game coached ref to perfection.
No.
There was missed calls in every game back and forth, but overall, I felt like it was definitely really, really good.
And I think something a lot of us forget sometimes is those refs are humans too.
Yeah.
They're not going to be perfect. You have officials at the NBA level to miss calls. It's just they're human, But I feel like they did a great job. A couple of games, there was more fouls called than in others, but it's overall, like you said, they did a good job. I had one person tell me down there. He says, when you come to the state tournament, do you come here to listen to the whistles sing, or do you come here to watch kids play?
Yeah.
And when you allow the kids to play a little bit of contact, a little bit rougher, obviously there's a line, you got to draw it somewhere. But I feel like that's a much better way to let the kids decide the outcome of the game.
Yes.
And I didn't hear anybody complain about the officiating as a whole.
Right.
Obviously during games, people are complaining each side, whatever. That'll never change, but as a whole, I didn't hear any negative remarks about the officiating down there.
Yeah, and I agree 100%. I felt like you said, it was a great officiating compared to years past. So, but Bryce Valley taking second, huge accomplishment for them, because I have a feeling, a lot of people out there, including us, really, we know they were a good team, but we didn't know if they could make it to that championship game, because Wayne was just a stacked team this year. They had 3 just unbelievable players, but they managed to get it done.
Well,
in that semifinals game.
Now that the tournament's over, and I wouldn't reveal on our one episode who I thought was going to win the whole thing, I'll say it now. I told you off camera, but I really thought that Wayne would be the team to just kind of win the whole thing, and they did. They played good, but they just came up short. They matched up against that night what was a better opponent and just couldn't get it done. But
yeah. And that's why we love basketball, because it's so unpredictable.
Well, and it's like we
is.
said before too. It just depends on who gets there on Thursday and who has the right mindset. You let everything from the season go and start right there, start fresh. But Bryce Valley, they've got 3 seniors. Shanoff is a senior. Rodolfo Perez, he's a senior, and Antonio Moreno's a senior. So Shanoff, I know he plays a lot, so that'll be kind of a blow to lose him. But I do know Perez, he's a pretty solid player. He's helped him out a bunch during the year. I don't know much about Moreno. So I don't really know what to say there, but
you watching Bryce Valley, it's not like they was the biggest team either.
No.
That goes to show you that when you work your butt off, anything can happen.
Right.
And I was impressed with all of them, how they shot the ball, and just the mentality to go there and, like I said, never give up on a play or nothing. So yeah, it was awesome to watch them just kind of be the underdog and really push to that state championship game. And then in that 3rd and 4th place game, you had the Wayne Badgers and the Penguin Bobcats, and I thought that game was going to be a little better than it was, but I never got the chance to play in that 3rd and 4th place opportunity, but it almost felt like the wind was kind of knocked out of both teams. It was like they were there, but just the intensity. I mean, you could just tell it. They were bummed that they didn't make it to that that state championship game. But Wayne came out, just played just phenomenal.
Well, their trio, like we talked about all year, all 3 of them had a good game.
Yeah. I guess I should go in the order I got these things. Let's talk about the 5th and 6th here before we roll into these other ones. I got Manila and Paiute here, and I know if I go down, I'll get mixed up, and we'll be back and forth here.
Okay.
But gotta hand it to Manila. They played Panguitch hard that first day. Just couldn't get nothing to go in that second half. But then they worked their way around and ended up playing for that 5th and 6th place. Ended up falling short to Paiute, but man, Paiute, they looked good as well. But Paiute ended up winning 68-50 in that game. Myers came out, just had a heck of a game, 22 points in that one with 3 threes. And then Montague with 20 points and a 3 in that game. Glebe had 17 with a 3. And then the Eliason boys 7 and points and 2 points. So yeah, on their end, they was working the ball well. On Manila's end, Bear had 12 with 4 threes. Chowning had 11. Goodman with 10. Bambro with 9. And Hughes with 8. Yeah, I thought the Mustangs would play a little better in that game, but like I said, Paiute was just a good squad. They're coached so well. Coach Jessen he just does a great job with his program, and it showed at the tournament. They did come up short in that one, but man, they played hard, and they was a fun team to watch as well.
Well, let me tell you what's going to be a little tough for Paiute next year, and I'm sure he'll figure something out. But these are the seniors that he's losing this year: Glebe, Montague, both Eliasons, Marr, and Navarez. Oh, and Millette. So I think he's got 7.
They got Myers coming back.
6, 7. So he's got 7 seniors. Yes, Myers is a junior.
Okay.
So he'll be back, but he's got 7 seniors that he's losing this year. That's a big chunk of your team.
Yes.
And I don't know. I did get a chance to talk to him for a minute there, and I can't remember what he told me coming in as far as what will be freshmen, but I'm sure they'll figure something out. And
well, Coach Jessen always does. It
right.
Seems like. And then on Manila's end, I know they're losing a few. Do you have?
They have 1 senior.
1 senior?
Yep. T. Goodman is their only senior.
Oh, so they'll be.
Yep. So Chowning's a junior. Hughes is a sophomore. Bear
they're going to be.
I can't remember what Barry is, and I think Bambrow's only a sophomore too. I think he might even be a freshman.
Next year is looking good for them.
I think Manila will be a tough team again next year.
For sure. But yeah, congratulations to the Mustangs and congratulations to the Thunderbirds on, a great season. It's been fun to watch. And like I said, the first year doing this, we're learning all these names, and next year we'll be able to just kind of roll with it now.
Hopefully.
Yeah, hopefully.
So Bambrough, Hughes, and Bear are all sophomores. So they got a couple years left, and like I said, Chowning, he'll be back. And they've got two kids, they're juniors, Logan and Levi Platt. I believe they're twins. I didn't get to watch them, but a couple of people from Tabby here watched them in the JV games and stuff, And they said they're pretty decent ball players. And when I talked to Coach Hughes down there at State for a little bit, he had mentioned it too, that there's some pretty good players, and it sounded like they'll probably, I would imagine, get some varsity time next year. They didn't play a whole lot of varsity this year, but I think they'll still be a pretty decent team, with Chowning coming back to help be a leader, and Hughes is solid. So yeah, I think they'll be a team to watch next year for sure.
Right. Yeah, on the next game here, now we'll get into Penguin and Paiute. Now I got their numbers, but yeah, Wayne ended up...
Penguin and Wayne.
Yeah, that's what I said.
You said Penguin and Paiute.
Oh, sorry.
You got me
Penguin
confused.
and Wayne.
Okay.
But yeah, Wayne ended up beating them 62-41 in that game. Blake Peterson came in like normal. I think in that semi game when they played, he only had like 6 points. But when he come back into this third, fourth place game, he had 18 points with 2 threes. Robbins, same thing, came back, had 17 points with 2 threes. Martinez, 15 points with a 3. Paiute had 8 with a 3. Jackson with 2, and Brinkerhoff with 2. But yeah, in that semifinals game, that trio that we've just been seeing dominate all year, they didn't put the numbers up like expected.
So I've got it right here. So in that Friday night game, Peterson and Robbins combined for 12 points. They had 6 each.
Yeah, and that's just not normal.
And Martinez had 12. But yeah, when the other two's only getting 6, that's like we talked all year. That trio has to play good for them to.
And that
really
goes to show you how good Bryce Valley was on their defensive end. They really done their job.
Yeah, they did.
But yeah, so it was good to see them get their numbers back up to win third. I was talking to Coach Jones, and he thought that Wayne has never been to a state championship game. And going off of Coach Jones's memory, I would say he's probably dang close. But from what he remembered, I know when we're talking to him, he was rooting for Wayne. He really wanted Wayne to get in there, and yeah, he was kind of upset that they didn't, because I think he thought that they was going to win as well. But on Penguin's end, Ramsey, number 35, he had 15 points in that game with 2 threes, and then. The other Ramsey, number 32, had 7 points with a 3. Barney had 6. Anderson had 3, and Birmingham had 2. And then Berga don't have the stats, but I know he did score.
On Max Prep, they've got that he had 8.
And then did they have rebounds on there for you?
Yes, they do.
Because I know Berga, he was rebounding.
So he had 7 rebounds. Traeger Ramsey with his 15 points had 4 rebounds. Then you had Barney, Bailey, and Birmingham all had 3 rebounds, and then Bentley and Anderson each. Oh, and Sertonio, I'm thinking. They each had 1 rebound.
And I was impressed with Barney. I know he's not their starter. I guarantee he will be next year. But when they was playing Rich near that end, he was the one bringing them back. He has good footwork down low. And he finishes really well at the rim.
And he's only a sophomore.
Yeah, so I mean, next year he's gonna be a unit.
And even they get Traeger Ramsey back too. The Ramsey that had 15.
Yeah,
he played really good in that game Saturday.
So Penguin, even though they're losing Berga, I honestly think they're gonna be still a top dog next year.
I think they'll be pretty good. And one thing that I saw, and I may be wrong. So if somebody hears this, and if I am wrong, feel free to let me know. But it looked to me like Coach Barney, towards the end of that game, maybe the fourth quarter, put kids in that don't usually play And it made me and Coach Jerry Strebel was talking. We were wondering if maybe that's going to be some of his players for next year.
I would assume.
If that's the case, I like that move because even though they're not playing for the championship or anything, you're still playing at the state tournament. It's the atmosphere, the crowds, the everything else. So I thought if that's what he did, I thought that was a pretty cool move.
Yeah. But yeah, a heck of a good season for Wayne. Excited to see what they can do next year. Because I believe they do lose their trio, right? Or
yeah, I think
I'm pretty sure Peterson's a senior, and I know Robbins is a senior. So those are two big.
And
keys.
Martinez is as well. So yep, all three of those kids graduate.
So yeah, they're gonna have a definitely a rebuilding year next year. But I'm sure, it's like every other program. At the end of the year, you wonder what's gonna happen, and then the season starts next year, and everyone fills their roles. So.
Well, looking at their stat thing here, there's 4 sophomores on the stat sheet.
Yeah.
So, they'll be coming back as juniors. Who knows what they've got for freshmen this year and what will be freshmen. So,
but yeah, congratulations to the Bobcats and the Badgers. Can't wait to see what their programs do next year. In the state championship game, Rich, just like we said before, solid team all year with Lundgren. They ended up beating Bryce Valley 69-56. And, you look at the score sheet, we talk about Lundgren a lot, but you got to hand it to Scott and Holmes here. They both had 17 points in that game, and Holmes had 5 threes, and they were huge threes.
Mm-hmm.
Every single one. I know one he actually got the 4-point play on, too. And then before it even went into the halftime, I believe he stole the ball and shot a 3. And, in 30 seconds, it seemed like the Rebels, they got 10 straight points before the halftime, and that was huge.
That's a huge momentum builder, and it's a huge blow to the other team to have something like that happen. It makes it hard to come out in the third quarter.
Yeah. But yeah, Lundgren, 22 points for him, 2 3-pointers. I would dare put all my life savings on that he's the MVP of the boys. Possibly
the tournament and the season would probably. I mean, there's a lot of good boys that played this year that could get the MVP. But I'm curious to see. I'm excited to see that come out for both boys and girls and see who gets that.
Yeah. But I don't know. I still think Lundgren's probably got it locked up.
Well,
he proved himself at that tournament.
And I got to say one thing about Rich. We talked a lot all year about Lundgren and Scott and kind of being key players, But I think from what I've watched, from what I've seen here in Tabby, down at state, watching the stats, I don't think you win that state championship if you don't have Jet Holmes.
Oh no, he played his butt off.
He always, and as the year progressed, he got better at shooting. You started seeing the 3 numbers go up from him. He'd get 3 a game, 4 a game, 3 a game, 5 in the championship game.
And he plays such good defense too. I mean, he was honestly he was a hustler. I mean, they're all hustlers, but you got to hand it to him. He played his heart out. And
I think he was, I want to give him credit. And it's not taking anything away from, obviously, Lundgren or Scott or any of these guys. But I just feel like he was a key piece for that team this year to help them get over that hump that they've been trying to get over for a long time.
Right. And then you got to hand it to this next player, too, that had 7 points, Nicola Domas. He came in and hit some big shots as well, even though we haven't really seen him as much. But, he stepped in and really helped the Rebels out as well in that championship game. And then, Weston came in with 4, and then Nilsson with 1, Grohl with 1. But I want to say this about Fonsback and Nilsson and Grohl. Them boys did not let anything easy happen down low on the defensive end. You want to talk about just guys that know their role and done it to perfection. All them boys did.
And when Rich played Panguitch on Friday in the semifinal game, Fonsbeck played top-tier defense on Verga.
Yes, he did.
I mean, Verga didn't go anywhere without being checked a little bit.
Yeah.
He was right there the whole time. That's a big factor. But Rich always has kids inside that are strong. They hold their ground. They play good defense. Every single one of them can jump.
Yeah.
That Carter Grohl, I'll bet if he wanted to, he could hit his knees on the rim. I
Yeah,
swear he's got springs in his shoe. I
Yeah.
mean, he can get up, and he's strong too. Well, he's the one we talked about earlier in the year, the top 20 linebacker in the state.
Yeah.
I think it was linebacker.
Yeah. He's just, like I said. You look at every one of the boys on the Rebels. I mean, there's a reason they brought home the gold. They just are so athletic, and they all just got along so well from what it looked like.
Well, and this was a year for them to do it too, because Carter Grohl's a senior, Jet Holmes, Weston, Wasden. He played a little bit here and there. He wasn't a big time scorer all year, but he did play.
And he done a good job on big guys as well.
He did.
That's why I said we talk about all these players, and they just did their role so well on defending.
And then they lose, obviously, Lundgren, Carter Scott, Fonsbeck, Nilsson. All those guys are seniors. So, a good year for Rich to finally get over the hump, and now they know what it feels like. These younger kids that'll be back, they've got that taste for what it's all about.
Right.
And, like we always say, Rich always comes up with a good team. I had 3 different coaches tell me down there at the tournament this year that Rich and Tabby, which Tabby struggled this year, but they're those 2 teams that everybody always talks about because they somehow always manage to put together a good program. Which I think it's kind of funny to hear that, because we say the same thing about like Panguitch, Paiute, all those southern teams. They always put together a good program too, which is why I really like 1A, because it's just these small towns. You make athletes out of what you have, and a lot of the kids are hard-working, strong kids. So.
Yeah. But a great year for the Rebels. They took the football championship. Now they got their basketball championship. So, and like I said, the last time they won it was back when I was a senior, 2015. And so, 11 long years, it finally happened again for them. So.
And they've been close several years.
Yes, they have. And then on Bryce Valley's end, Shanoff in that game, 17 points for him with 5 threes. He was just, everything he was putting up, it was looking good. And, the stat sheet shows it. And then Syra, I was impressed with him too. And I think he's only a junior.
He is a junior, yep. 14 points for him. He only had 1 3, but, and then Gray had 8, Perez was 7, Moreno was 7, Lopez with 3. But, looking at them, they're going to be tough next year too, I think. Yeah, they'll have Lopez, Syrat, Roberts is on here as a junior, Clay Gray is a junior, another Syrat, Jackson Syrat is a junior.
Yeah, they're going to be tough next year. But, like we said before, congratulations to Bryce Valley on getting second, and it was a great tournament for the boys' end. You ready to go into the girls now?
Yes, sir.
We'll just start with the 5th and 6th place, Windover and Whitehorse. Whitehorse came out and ended up getting that win 38-30 to take 5th. Martin, 13 points, but there was a lot of pressure on Martin because
she was pretty quiet at the tournament as far as points go. They had
only 1 3-pointer for her in that game.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, you could just tell every team there. I mean, they had her number and they knew where she was.
Well, and you say the 1 3-pointer, she shot 8.
Yeah.
So not a good shooting night from her, which, like you said, credit to the other team because they know that's who they have to stop. So played good D on her.
And then H. Clark had 11 in that game. K. Chi had 10. Yellowman with 2, and number 30 K. Chi had 2. So, Whitehorse, they came in, and I felt like they really represented their school really, really great. The Raiders should be, extremely happy with how their girls came out.
And they will lose Hannah Clark and Kiara Chi, number 34, the one that starts and plays. So they're both seniors. But, obviously they get Martin back. The Begay is a junior, Sam is a junior. There's a couple sophomores, 3 sophomores on here. So they've got a good handful of girls coming back. Yellowman, we know we've talked about her before. She's a sophomore. She'll be back. So.
Oh, and I don't know why this just came to my mind, but I was looking at Manila's boys, and Chowning broke the school record for 3-pointers made in a season.
He did?
Yeah, for Manila.
Well, that's saying something because there's been some good shooters come out of Manila.
I seen that on the Instagram. I forgot to mention that when we were talking about it. But yeah.
Well, while we're here right now, Chowning, good job.
Yeah.
Good work. Keep it up. carry it through to next year.
I don't know why I just thought of that, but I'm
glad you
I
did.
wanted to bring that up
Yeah,
because
I'm glad
that's
you did.
impressive to break that.
Like I said, I played with some kids from Manila that were good shooters.
Yeah.
So that's saying something.
And then, okay, we'll go back to Wendover. Hicks in that game had 11 points, but her rebounds were insane in that game. What did she end with?
I show on Max Prep as 26.
Yeah, that's just insane. But yeah, Hicks being a senior, she had a great run. Hit 1,000 points in her career. So it was fun to watch her play.
And I talked to her for a minute down there too, and just basically told her I wanted to congratulate her face to face on the great career, the 1,000 points, that making it to state, and just how hard she plays and the dedication and everything. So I didn't get to talk to her a lot. She was with her teammates, and I didn't want to take away from what they were doing. But yeah, she had a heck of a run, and she's also one that I think could go somewhere and play some college ball.
Definitely.
Maybe whether it's a lot of these kids look at Wyoming schools.
Right.
I mean. We're going to jump back again because this just popped into my mind, and I said Wyoming schools. But I talked to Teague Goodman from Manila, and he's going to college somewhere in Wyoming for rodeo.
Oh, nice.
So, yeah, he's I didn't ask him. If I did ask him what he does, I don't remember. Oh, I did. He team ropes, calf ropes, maybe steer wrestles. I can't remember.
Mm.
But so he'll be going on to the college level in a different sport, which is awesome. Good for him.
Awesome.
He hasn't decided yet. He said he was he got it narrowed down, but he hasn't picked one yet. So, but anyway, yeah. Sorry, back to Wendover. Sorry, guys, we're all over.
We keep
here.
talking about Manila here.
Well, this is our last one, so we want to make sure we get everything in here.
Yeah, and then Du Bois, had 8 points in that game. Alvarez had 7 with 2 threes. Robles with 3, and Ramirez with 1. And they had a lot of seniors on their team, right?
Yeah, so Hernandez, I think it's Robles, maybe anyway.
I'm not sure.
Bateman is a senior. Hicks, Natalie Alvarez, Du Bois. So yeah, they've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 seniors.
Yeah, that's a lot to lose for the Wildcats next year.
And just looking right here, I know we already talked about it, but it's crazy to me. So Wendover as a team had 41 rebounds, and Millie had 26.
Yeah.
Like, she had more than half of their rebounds.
Right.
She was just, and I know there was, actually I didn't watch this game. I was going to say she was on the bench for a little bit, but that was the night before. So, but yeah, that's, and like you've said, both of those teams, congratulations to both of them. Wendover, at one point during the season, we were kind of wondering how it might end up for them,
right,
hoping they would make it there because we knew they're a team that deserved to be there. And they pulled through, and they made it. And, like you said, Whitehorse made it. So congratulations to both of those teams.
The next game, 3rd and 4th place, the Penguins Bobcats played the Wayne Badgers, and the Bobcats ended up getting that win 47-44 to take 3rd. In that game, Owens, she was kind of slow most of the tournament until that
quiet,
game.
Yep.
She had 14 points in this game with 2 3-pointers. And then Tate Miller had 13 in that game. Yardley with 10. Hatch with 7. Edwards with 2. Torgerson with 1. But yeah, I was glad to see Owens finally had a good game because.
Well, and she struggled at first too, because still she only shot 2 for 7 from 3. Mm-hmm. But you could watch her when they weren't falling. She found other ways. Was able to drive in. She got fouled a couple of times. I'm sure she had some free throws. Yeah, 4 for 4 from the line. So. But I'm with you. It was good to see her, being a senior, good to see her go out on not the high note she wanted, but still go out on a good note, having a good game.
And a solid career for her.
Yeah.
She's got a state championship ring, all these girls do.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah, just a great end of the season for them. And, they lose. They
lose Hatch, Owens, Torgerson, Edwards, and Miller.
Oh, so they lose a lot of their key players.
So Annie Yardley will be back, which she's a great player too. She's a junior, so she'll be back next year. But yeah, they lose a pretty good chunk of their starting role there too.
And then on the Wayne Badger end, Van Dyke finished with 14 points in that game. Wood had 7. Morrill with 6, Erickson with 6, Peterson with 5, Torgerson with 2, Snedeker with 2, and Peterson with 2. A slower night for Van Dyke compared to the semifinals game against Tabby when she had 27. But she ended up kind of hitting heads.
Yeah, so right there
with the Penguich girl, and she when we talked to her after the game, she said that she had kind of a minor concussion, and they didn't want to put her back in the game for health reasons. But still, she just played awesome that whole tournament.
Well, and I'm sure after Friday's game against us, I'm sure she was gassed.
Yeah.
She had the responsibility a lot of the times of bringing the ball up the floor, and our girls ran that press for
the entire game.
Yeah, I was going to say the majority of the game. So, and I'm sure she wouldn't use that as an excuse. I'm sure that she had to have been a little gassed for that, but hitting her head, I seen it happen. It was kind of hard to see how it happened, but I did see their heads hit. And, the other girl, she kind of jumped back up and grabbed her head a little bit. I can't remember which Penguich player it was, but Van Dyke just kind of laid there for a minute, and man, you could see she just breathing hard. Like, you could tell that there was something that was off, and when I got a chance to talk to her dad afterwards, he was telling me, that she, as soon as she went down, her eyes started to get red, kind of like bloodshot, and so that's why they took her out to get her checked, and like you said, they took the advice of I don't know if it was Salt Lake Community's staff or whoever it was, but they told the coach that she probably shouldn't go back in. And like I told her dad, it sucks because you want to play that last game, but she's a junior, she's coming back, and a player's health is way more important than trying to finish a game.
For sure.
It does hurt a little bit to have her out. They only lost by 3, so they didn't have a chance to maybe get her an open look, but obviously the health is way more important. So,
and talking to her, basketball ain't stopping.
No, she told us she gets a week off.
She gets a week off, and she's heading up to play some serious basketball, it sounds like, in Pleasant Grove. Mm-hmm. So, I hope a lot of these other players, look at her and understand that's why she's
good.
That's the reason why she's putting up the numbers she does, because now that basketball's over, it ain't over for her. She's going to play pretty much all summer, from what I understood.
Well, and even, her and her dad was telling us, even at practice, she takes 400 to 500 shots a day.
Yeah.
When he first said that, I looked at her and I said, do you really shoot that many in a day? And she says, yeah, every single day. Well, what you just said, it goes to show you the work you put in. A player that has the talent and the skill and the potential, you can be as good as you want to be.
Right.
Like we tell our kids up here all the time, it takes more than just that couple hours you get at practice every day. At practice you work on your team stuff, your plays, your defense, everything like that. Your individual, that's on you.
Mm-hmm.
You got to take that time, go to the gym, whatever chance you get. But it just depends on how good you want to be. And some kids don't want to spend every day in the gym, and that's fine.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with that. But if you want to exceed and try to be the best at that level, that's what it takes.
And because there was a lot of tag players like, man, I can't believe she can turn around and make that fadeaway jumper. It's like, well, if she's shooting that many shots, it's kind of just butter to her.
Well,
it's
and
easy.
she's shooting probably 100 or more of that particular shot in a day. So.
But yeah, it was fun to watch Wayne. I'm excited to see what Van Dyke does next year.
Well, and even, Friday, was it Friday night or Thursday? One of the games, Timberwood had a really good game, and she's been pretty good for them all year.
She plays great defense.
But she, I think it was Thursday, because Van Dyke was a little off, and Timberwood showed up to play, and she kind of helped, push him over the edge there. But she's been a good player all year. She only had 7 on Saturday, but 5 rebounds, and so that'll be one that'll suck to lose.
How many seniors are they losing?
So they've got Torgerson, which she is good inside too. Like, she helps them a bunch. She's not very tall, but she can get it somehow through the defense, and she's good at finishing.
Yeah.
So they lose Torgerson, Maddie Jacobson, and Timberwood.
Mm-hmm.
So they get Lily Morrill back. They get Kira Peterson, number 1, the one that started shooting the ball really well towards the end of the year. She's only a sophomore. They get Snedeker back.
And talking to Gordon Van Dyke, he looked like he sounded like he was way confident in these younger girls to step in next year.
I think so.
I think the Badgers are going to be just like they was this year, a threat and someone that's you got to be ready to play.
Right.
But yeah, great season for the Badgers, great season for the Bobcats. Can't wait to see what next year brings with their programs as well. And then moving on to the championship game between the Rich Rebels and the Taviona Tigers. Taviona ended up getting that win 45-41. And, words just can't even express the amount of hard effort and just the heart to just never give up.
I personally have never seen a team work as hard as those girls did, especially on Friday night.
Yes.
Because for those of you that didn't see the game, Wayne jumped out early, and we were down like 18 at one point. We were down, I think, 14 or 15 at the half. Those girls could have rolled over, could have gave up. That's hard. When you come out in a game like that, against a team like that, and they get a jump on you, as a coach, well, I've had coaches say this before. I can't say it as a coach because I've never been there, but that's kind of what you want to do. You tell your kids, hey, if we can come out and get a jump on this team, there's a pretty good chance they're going to give up.
Yeah.
Like if we can get 10 or 15 points on them, we're going to be in a good spot.
Right.
I heard a fan during the game, during that big run, turned around to a lady from Rich and said, you guys have your hands full tomorrow. And she says, well, what do you mean? And he points at Wayne and he says, that's a good team right there, and they're going to be ready for you tomorrow. She's like, oh, okay. And he said, if they keep this momentum right here, they're going to come into that game with so much confidence. And I'm sitting there listening. I'm thinking, dude, I understand it's a 15-point lead right now, but it's the first quarter.
Yeah.
Like, there's so much that can happen.
Yeah.
And I kind of watched that guy as the game went on, and you could see just the face burying in the hands as it goes on. And you could tell that he's like, crap,
right.
Maybe I was wrong,
Yeah.
But, yeah, the fight that those girls had Friday, Saturday, they lost to Rich by, I think it ended up being 12 in Rich, but they were down 20 at one point, and to be able to come back and bounce back against Rich, and it was a good game the whole game. There really wasn't a big run from either team.
No.
I know at one point Rich was up, I think it was 6, and I was sitting there thinking to myself, if they score again, we're in trouble.
Right.
Because they're kind of rolling. If they get an 8-point lead on us, that very well could be the end of it.
Right.
And they didn't. We got to stop. We scored, and it just back and forth. But one big thing for me, Braylon Pugmire had 2 points.
Yeah, and that hurt the Rebels huge because she was MVP last year.
Mm-hmm.
Just a dominant force down low. But, you got to hand it to Hagman to just, not let her have any time of day down low. Hagman just played a great, probably her best game of the year.
Friday
honestly.
and Saturday, in my opinion, are the 2 best games that she played all year.
Yeah, and what a good time to play at your best.
Did you find Tabby's stats on there?
I have just points and rebound or points and 3-pointers here, but I'll hurry and read them off. But yeah, for the Tigers, Joy Gines 13 points. With 1 3. She didn't really shoot a lot of threes. They was on her big time,
Mm-hmm.
but her free throws, man. I hope she understands how huge free throws are, but not just at the end of the game, throughout the entire game.
Mm-hmm.
Them free throws is what kept the Tigers in the game.
And she's been a solid free throw shooter all year. Her and Adri both are pretty good. And Adri shot well from the line too, but yeah, very important free throws.
But the 1 3 Gines did have, it was huge. She had a 3. Bella Gines had 1 3, and she had 11 points. I thought there was one more 3, unless if it was a 2. I swore Chloe hit a big shot kind of in the corner near the end.
She hit one Friday in the corner against Wayne.
Was that it?
That was kind of the key of the game.
Huge.
Yeah, that.
Like I said, both these games just get merged.
Yep.
But yeah, Bella Gines 11 points for her. Fabrizio she hasn't started a game really all year, and then when we're talking to the coaching staff, they all just decided, even though she's Coach Fabrizio's daughter, they thought she deserved to start, and I think it was the right play.
I think that was key
because she came in, she hit big shots, she hit an and one layup that really shifted the momentum of that game. But yeah, she ended with 9 points, and she had a great game.
And Adri's tough inside. She's not tall by any means, but her presence inside on the rebounds, I wish we had rebounds, because she usually gets a good amount of rebounds. But to have her coming back as she's only a sophomore,
right?
So a couple more good years ahead for her.
And then Hagman, 8 points for her, and then Chloe Pippi had 2, Cadence Pippi had 1, and Allred came in with 1.
And I think I just wanted to add, I heard Coach Fabrizio at the school. He said that she had 9 points, and it was either 10 or 11 rebounds.
Who?
Macy.
Oh,
Hagman. Yep.
Okay.
So maybe it was 8, maybe it was 9, whatever. But I wanted to mention that she did. It was either 10 or 11 rebounds, and she did very well on the rebounds in that game.
Well, and in my opinion, that's where Rich beat the Tigers at home and in Rich's. They got out rebounded.
Yep.
But in this game, they really dug in, and the rebound, and I feel like it was definitely the biggest key to them winning this game. But then you look at the Rich Rebel and Molly Weston. I tell you what, she is a shooter. She is such a threat.
She hit one step back 3 that it was beautiful.
It was. She had 12 points with 3 threes, and every 3 that she shot, it was just, you could tell the Tigers were, every time she'd shoot it, they're just like, oh no,
I'll be honest
and it'd
with
be
you.
nothing but net, and you're just like, oh man.
Every time it came to her, I would say out loud, "What are we doing? Don't leave her." And sure enough, we leave her, and she shot 3 for 7. So luckily, she missed a few of those. Which it's not like she was standing there wide open. She was contested. Some of them were open, but yeah, she's a great shooter. She's a great player. And as a junior coming back, I guarantee you. Well, we've talked to Bradley, let us know that she's already got a chip on her shoulder.
Yeah.
So she'll be coming back ready to fire next year.
Yeah. And then McKinnon had 12 with 1 3. Smith had 10 with a 3. White came in, usually doesn't score. She had 4 points, just, kind of getting some offensive boards and putting them back. And then Pugmire, like we said, slow night for her with only 2, and then Morse came in with 1.
And my goodness, Maddie White is tall.
Yeah, she is.
They had her listed at 6'2".
Yeah,
and she is
and,
tall.
I said that from when I first seen her, I was like, she doesn't do any scoring, but her ability to get rebounds for the Rebels
and her
huge.
Presence in there on defense. It's hard to get a shot up over a 6'2" when most girls are, what?
5'6",
5'6", 5'7".
Yeah.
But so Rich, they will lose Maddie White, Paige Smith. I know there's more than that.
Is Pugmire a senior or a junior?
She's a junior. Maybe it is just those 2. I thought they had a few more seniors than that.
So it's.
I'm only showing Maddie White, Paige Smith. Yeah, that's it. Weston's a junior.
So next year,
Morris is a junior. And Lacey McKinnon.
Oh,
she had a big game. She's only a junior, but I wanted, maybe you were going to mention that. Okay, sorry, go ahead.
She had 12 points with a 3.
Because she had a great game too. I think it was her family that was sitting right in front of me at the game, and she played well.
Yeah.
But do you got more scores for them before I?
No, I already read them off. I was just curious if Pugmire was a senior.
No, she's a junior.
Okay.
Yep.
So next year the Rebels are going to be, well, they're kind of like the Tigers. The Tigers don't lose anyone besides.
We lose Jazzy.
Jenkins.
Yeah, we lose Jazzy. But I wanted to go back to Tabby real quick because someone that doesn't get mentioned a lot because she doesn't score a lot is KP. But over the last, I'm going to say 5 to 6 games of the season, and including the state tournament, she might not score a lot, but she was getting her hands on a lot of offensive rebounds. Some of them she was able to come up with. She had one. I remember for sure there against Rich. Went back up, got fouled, went to the line, but she doesn't get talked about a whole lot. But if you watch her, she works hard. She doesn't quit. She, kind of had a couple of silly passes and it happens. But I just want to give her credit too, because she doesn't show up in the stat sheet, and we all know that just because you don't show up in the stat sheet doesn't mean that you're not a key asset. I mean, so I wanted to kind of give a shout out to her. Like I've told you before, I talked to her a few times within the last few weeks, and really talked to her about rebounding, and just told her, I feel like, and I'm not saying I'm the reason for any of this. I told her I feel like you could really help push your team over the top if you go crash those rebounds. If you have it, go back up. If not, kick it out. You can get another shot at the hoop. And so I feel like she made some changes and did really well.
Yeah.
So,
and that was the thing, even though the Tigers sometimes they'd get in foul trouble, that was the key thing we said all year is, even when it comes to the bench, they're all weapons.
mm-hmm.
And you clearly seen it because Coach Fabrizio, he was substituting all the time. He didn't have a worry about he just tell, he looks at the bench and says, it's your turn to give her a break.
Yep.
It's not like he had to make that decision of can she fill the role.
Right.
He already knew, he already had confidence in every one of them.
Yep.
So, coming home with the girls, it was awesome. Lighting fireworks, the whole town just
I don't
going
know
crazy.
I don't know what happens in these other small towns when they win. I've always been curious, but when Tabby has won a championship, whether it's boys or girls, everybody shows up for them. We all know that Tabby's not a big place.
Yeah.
But there was a giant line of cars behind that bus.
Oh, just going
following
crazy.
all the way from Wolf Creek down through town, and it's really cool to see people show support for their student athletes. It doesn't matter what school it is.
And there was a lot of people that might not even be really that involved, but they were partying with everyone else.
Well, Coach Fabrizio said that he saw people out there at Salt Lake that he hasn't seen in years.
Yeah.
But they showed up to give support. Most of them, I would imagine probably most of them, when they grew up here, they played basketball here. So they've been involved in the program, but they've been gone for a while or whatever, and it's really cool to see them come back and show support. Whitney Heisman drove all the way from, I think she's in Green River, Wyoming.
Right.
She come all the way down to support them. She was on the last championship team in 2007 with your sister, and
Yeah.
But yeah, just really cool to see them come out and show the support. And you mentioned it about Rich, but Tabiona also, the girls' second championship this year, winning the cheerleading championship, and a lot of those cheerleaders are on the basketball team.
Yeah.
So big year for those girls here too. I don't know. Again, I don't know how other towns are.
I hope they celebrate like that.
This kind of stuff, when it happens here, it's a big deal for this town.
Yeah.
We're not involved, but we still feel like a part of it. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I know that these players, you could see it in their faces, the girls when we were at the school, when they were kind of talking. So you could see it in their faces, the appreciation that they have for the people that show up and support them. Because as a player, if you have a crowd that's behind you, that cheers you on, that makes noise, you play so much better.
Oh, yeah.
When you're sitting there playing in a dead gym, it's hard.
Yeah.
So really cool year for them, and like you said, it'll be one to remember. And sorry guys, I know we're kind of elaborating on this one quite a bit, but this, as you guys know, this is our hometown. Tabiona is our school, and we're just super proud of these girls, and I can't say enough about them and how hard they worked and just how proud I am of them.
Yeah, and that was their biggest thing. They said they wanted to be remembered, and and they wanted to have a banner up in the school to remember Miley Rhodes as well.
That's what I was going to say. I want to make sure to bring that up. For those of you that don't know, we lost a player. What's it been, 2 years now?
Well, she would be a junior.
She would be a junior, and it was coming into her freshman year.
Yeah.
A tragic accident that took her away from us way too early, and she was an amazing ball player. She would have been a key asset to this team, and all year the team has had a picture of her with them.
Mm-hmm.
You can see the hurt that these girls go through knowing that she's not there.
Mm-hmm.
But if you talk to them, and whether you believe in this kind of stuff or not, they will tell you that Coach Fabrizio told us, they seen things, they felt things that just can't be explained at state.
Right.
I'm going to go back real quick to Friday night. again, whether you believe in it or not, maybe it was pure luck, who knows? But that shot that Joy hit from about 3/4 court,
Yeah.
it blew my mind, for one, that she could even throw it that far, let alone make it.
Yeah.
And, you know, they kind of made some comments. Well, they didn't. Some people made some comments that they had heard that the girls did make, that something just, you know, they seen things, they felt things that, like I said, you can't explain it, you know. And at the little celebration down there on the floor after they had won, you know, I look over and I see Miley's mom and dad, Chase and Tommy, which I've been very close with for most of my life. Tommy, you know, your cousin too, it's our cousin. But Chase, I've always been close with Chase, and to just see him holding that picture of his daughter, who would have been there as a junior, and, you know, he's emotional, and Tommy's emotional, and I walked over and gave them both a hug, you know, and told them I loved them, and I can't imagine the feeling that they have with her not being here, you know. But to pay a tribute to her, the girls made sure that everybody knew that she is still a part of the team.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a really cool thing, and I'm glad that Chase and Tommy and their family, you know, their other kids, have had the support that they've had, not only from Tabby but from surrounding areas, in such a tough thing to go through. So, but anyway,
but yeah, with that, we just want to say congratulations, girls. You earned it, you deserved it, and it was an awesome tournament. And I just want to say I called it. Taviona won the girls and Rich won the boys. So
you did.
I just wanted to point that out. I wish Wendover had something I could bet on high school. Maybe I could make $1 on it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just wanted to say that.
I want to throw out one more thing. The coaches that I was able to talk to down at the tournament, I already have forgot a few of their names. I can tell you the school they're from, but Coach Parsons, who, you know, we've mentioned, has followed us all year long. Finally got to talk to him a few different times. We chatted for about a half hour in the pool as our kids were swimming, and you know, that conversation to me was really cool, because we talked basketball for a minute, but then we just kind of started talking just about life, you know, and our kids and where we come from and everything. So I appreciate him for not only following us all year, but for giving me some time to talk to him. Coach Barney from Penguich, I headhunted him all day long, couldn't find him. Boston wanted a candy bar. We walk out to the concessions and look who's sitting in the chair right in front of me.
Mm-hmm.
So I went up and talked to him for a minute, and I talked to Coach Jessen from Paiute, Hughes from Manila. I was able to talk to, I can't remember his name, the assistant coach for the Valley Boys. I can't remember his name, so I apologize. Wayne's girls coach, again, I can't remember his name either.
Stevens?
Is that,
or Van Dyke?
No, the head coach.
I think that's Stevens.
Is it Stevens?
Yeah.
But just, you know, all you coaches that took a minute to let me just kind of talk to you and just kind of let you know what we were doing as far as 1A, and trying to get you guys some recognition and the credit that you all deserve. And so thank you for your time, and we hope we can, you know, chat with you next year and meet up with you. And actually, we are going to do one more podcast, aren't we?
Yeah, you know.
Talking to this, yeah.
Yeah, you know, we want to throw it out to Coach Cornea. You know, he actually reached out to us, letting us know that he appreciates everything we're doing, and we plan on having him as our next guest to kind of go over his thoughts and pick his brain a little bit on what it's like to coach a state championship team.
You know, and I'm sure I'll probably say it next week, but just in case I forget, I want to say it now, because Coach Cornea, you told us that you do listen to every episode. And, you know, the message that you sent us, it really does mean a lot to us. You know, you didn't have to reach out. You didn't have to say anything. You know, you just do your thing, listen to the show, whatever. But I want you to know that we do appreciate it. And that's why we do this, you know, so that you guys can get a feel of what's going on during the season. And your players, you know, that maybe don't really get talked about a lot. We want to try to give them some credit. And so thank you, you know, Coach Cornea, for doing that. And, we also talked about getting with the girls, our girls, and kind of talking with each one of them, and we want to do that. If we do, we'll talk to Coach Fabrizio at that time. If not, maybe we look into getting him to join us after Coach Cornea does too.
Yeah.
But But anyway, so yeah, we'll have one more show, possibly two. When I said this was our last one earlier, I jumped the gun and forgot we did have some plans. But yeah, thank you guys and coaches, players, the fans that comment messages, the player, all you guys. Just we really do appreciate it.
Yeah.
So,
do you have a memory or anything for this episode? I know we didn't get any.
that's speaking of that, guys. We know you're listening now because we've talked to a lot of you.
Yeah.
So throw us a bone next year. Give us some of your memories. We know you guys have a lot of them. We'd love to share them. The ones that we did get was a lot of fun talking about what other people remember. So yeah, give us some memories. And again, I'll say it right now real quick. You can write it down because it might be a minute before we get full swing of this again. But the GD1A Sports Podcast at gmail.com is where you can send your memories. If you have our phone numbers, you can text them to us. Either one is fine. But with that being said, I can't really think of a particular memory, so maybe I'll just kind of throw in my whole high school career as a memory. As I've said before, in my opinion, I played for two of the best coaches that's ever done it, Coach Gines and Coach Strebel. It's just, I look back at it now, and when you're in high school, you kind of you're a teenage kid. You get a little bit of an attitude once in a while. You think people are out to get you, or whatever you might think.
You think you're superhuman.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But looking back now, I've been out of school almost 21 years, and you look back and you think of your whole high school memory, and I think, yeah, I could sit down and pick out several memories. It'd take me some time, but just the whole 4 years. I never played varsity till I was a junior, and then I got in as a junior, and I was a starter and started varsity, started my senior year as well. But I think I'll just use that as my memory, is just the things that I was taught, basketball, that also carried through into the bigger picture of life, becoming an adult and going through certain things, and just things that we were told, that we were taught, that helped you get through certain things. So yeah, that's probably I guess my all-time favorite memory of high school and basketball is just being able to play for those two. And the things that they taught us, the kids I played with, well, we're not kids anymore, but, Rowdy Rhodes, Jay Van Tassel, Dallas Jones, Austin Bagley, Jordan Leffler. I know there's a few more, but I'm kind of blanking on names.
And about every one of them successful in life.
Yeah, exactly. And just building that bond and that friendship that lasts forever. You go years without seeing some of these people, and when you do, you can just kind of pick up where you left off.
Yeah.
And all you seniors now, all you freshmen through seniors, take advantage of these high school years, because they go by way too fast, and that's a great place to build long-term, lifelong friendships, people that'll have your back to the end. So,
and yeah, I would have to agree 100%. I don't really have a memory either, but I love basketball so much. It's a big part of my life. I mean, playing in high school, and then I've been playing rec league, and unfortunately I tore my ACL a couple weeks ago, and so I gotta have surgery and stuff. But people ask me, "You gonna keep playing after you get surgery?" I said, "Oh yeah, in 6 months you're not gonna not see me playing ball."
Yeah.
I just love it so much. But yeah, unfortunately I'm down for the doctor told me today I'm down for a minimum of 6 months after my surgery. So, but yeah, it just goes to show you how much basketball means to you and I too.
Well, and it's funny too, because I don't play anymore. Partially is because I'm too out of shape, and too I don't have the physical body I had when I was in high school. But I love the game, maybe from not a different perspective, but I love to watch and to pick up on what certain players are doing. Kids that I know, kids here in Tabby, if I can offer a little bit of advice, I never tell them anything that, their coaches might tell, because I'm not trying to be their coach. They have coaches, but if it's something I could see as maybe like some footwork or a shooting form or something, because, when I played, my job was a shooter, and I watch for that kind of stuff, so it's just funny to me how so many years out of high school you can still love. I love basketball, but I love high school basketball.
Yeah.
Like, I don't watch the NBA anymore. They're a bunch of crybabies, and I don't like dealing with it. I'll watch some college once in a while if I get a chance to, but I watch 1A basketball and I watch the MLB. That's about the extent of my sports. But it's just funny to me how you develop a love for the game at such a young age, and it just stays with you.
And that's why we said we wanted to do this podcast, because we sure ain't making a dime doing it.
Yeah.
We're doing it because we love it.
Exactly. It's not, this is not for money. It's not for anything like that. It's just for the love of the game and to be able to see kids succeed and get better and change things. And coaches, you watch coaches improve, change, adjust, and it's a cool sport. I love it.
Yeah. But yeah, with that, I think it was a great year to start the podcast. Like we said, never going to forget it with our girls doing it with our first year starting up. And we are going to keep doing it, because I just found out 1A's got a softball program starting up, so they're going to have their own division from what it looks like, as long as there's 8 teams that will be consistent after their tryouts. But I think we're going to talk about a little bit on that.
Well, and like I said, there's something in the pipeline here that may push through that we can also talk about it. I'm not going to get into it because it's a little too early, but yeah, there'll be some things that we are going to continue to talk about. There may be a couple weeks where we don't do something. We'll just kind of see how things play out and when these sports start and everything. But yeah, we plan on it, and even if we don't have much for a high school sport, maybe we'll jump into, Bradley said he wants me to talk about the MLB a little bit, and so maybe we'll kind of flirt with that a little. And that's a tough one, though, when you play 162 games and there's that many teams. And
and I can promise you I'm not going to keep up with it.
It's hard to follow. I do watch a lot of baseball. We have the MLB channel, and there's days on a Sunday, if we're not doing anything, we'll sit here and watch games all day long.
But with that, it's bittersweet that basketball's come to an end. I'm already ready for next November.
Yeah.
I'm so ready to just keep talking basketball and watching kids. But do you have any more?
Nope, I don't. That's
but
it.
With that, guys, we just want to thank you. We're gonna, like I said, interview Cornea and get with our girls team. And but with that, we just want to say thank you, and thank you to the sponsors. We, hopefully we're in our studio in the next couple weeks, and
yeah, hopefully we can talk about the softball from the studio.
Yeah, that's the plan.
Instead of up here in Casa de la Giles on the little couch, we can maybe get down there.
But once again, like I said, we can't say thank you enough. I know we say it a lot, but we really can't. But
that's the thing. You guys don't. There's no way to put it into words how much it means to us to just support us and follow us and watch it grow as much as it did in our first year. So,
but yeah, with that, we'll just say thank you, and we'll catch you next week. And we'll go from there. So,
yep. See ya.